Fall 2025 is sneaking in with the modern A cowboy boot, Ivy League navy, and khaki skirts that are anything but school uniform, or Target workwear for that matter. Not everything on the runway makes sense for real life, so here are the trends that you'll actually wear, the pieces to retire, plus budget hacks so your wallet doesn't have to hibernate until spring. First up, we have the classic khaki skirt. Now this isn't the khaki skirt you may be thinking of because this one is as simple gets. We are ditching anything with pleats. Pleats are gone. We are going simple, streamlined, a simple silhouette that looks good on absolutely everybody, which is giving this a wearability of a 10 out of 10. Utterly perfect because you can pair this with anything in your closet. No different than the classic pair of khaki pants. Treat it as a neutral because it is. Giving Gilmore Girls, pumpkin spice latte, and I didn't go to Catholic school, but maybe I wanted to. You can find many affordable options on Amazon or Target. You do not have to go for the Aritzia $80 or whatever pair. If you're into DIYs, you can take a pair of old chinos that you may have or you would thrift, cut them up, turn them into a skirt. Next, we have sweaters over button-down shirts. If you were around, these were really popular in the early 2000s. People were really struggling with trying to figure out how to get these non-wrinkled. And so they ended up coming up with a combination shirt where it had a fake collar and fake sleeves and everything else. We are back with that same idea in the modern age, but instead of having a super skin tight sweater, we are going for a more roomy fit and making this a very easy fashion trend to get a hold of. Not only does it give you warmth, it makes you look really put together and like you auditioned for a season of Gossip Girl back in the day. The wearability here is a 10 out of 10. I'm sure every single one of you has a sweater in your closet and a button down shirt. So there's no excuse not to get on board with this. Stick with neutrals like navy, gray, browns, blacks, whites. That is also your budget saving hack because you do not need to go out and buy anything. But if you do, I will give you options just in case. Next trend we have is the Boxy workwear jacket. If you go into any popular retail store nowadays, they will have this jacket. Very utility, it's very traditional. This is a very classic silhouette style of a jacket that has been around for hundreds, I'm not kidding, hundreds of years. Very practical and gets a high wearability scale because it can be worn at any age group. Huge proponent of pieces that can be worn if you're 8 years old, college, 40 years old, or if you're 80 plus. I do recommend, if you can, to opt for one that is of higher quality. If it's a piece of outerwear, you want it to be durable, you want it to be functional, and you want it to hold up over time. But of course, if you do want to save money and you're on a budget and you're unsure about this one, head to H&M or Zara. They have great ones around $50. Now we have the 90s denim skirt. Last year, we saw the maxi denim skirts, very popular, and it was a great time to be alive. But this year, they have cut off the hemlines and we're getting the mini variation. If you're worried about having a shorter hemline, opt for one that is actually a skirt. I do this in my because it also has an adjustable waist so you can wear it low rise, mid rise, whatever you're feeling that day. In the shoe department, we have the Mary Jane flat. Ballet flats have been insanely popular yet again the last year or so. When it comes to fall, we've added the strap. We've turned it into a Mary Jane because comfort's key. Having your shoes not fall off is also key. Ankle boots are definitely out. One problem with ankle boots is they shorten your leg and they only look good if you're covering them up with jeans. Can be worn for so many different occasions without having your feet ache by the end of the day. To make these ultra long lasting, you can buy some gel insoles for extra cushioning and make these just as comfortable as your favorite sneakers. A trend we saw in spring and summer, now we're seeing again, is the single buttoned cardigan. It's no different from a normal cardigan. You're just gonna do one button instead of buttoning them all up to get that ultra it girl fashion forward vibe. Out are the open back sweaters that somehow made sense. I don't know why. I think they were just a fun thing people did for a while and then they realized they were cold wearing them. So we had to put the back on and that's where we got the open cardigan. So we're opening it up in the front instead of the back. Because these are so popular, you can find very inexpensive versions on Amazon. Definitely recommend this one from Trendy Queen. They have a lot of different colors, really great quality, so you can get a bunch if you are unsure what color you want to settle with. It has been a long time since we have seen this fashion item on Pinterest, on Instagram, definitely on the runway, and that is the thick brown belt. Now we're not getting too thick. We're not getting like as thick as your head. Only a medium thickness brown belt of superior quality. We're saying forever to these haphazard bohemian waist belts that only made sense in the early 2000s and will never ever once again. An insanely easy thing to wear because there's no doubt with the fall season upon us, you are going to be wearing those 90s denim skirts. You're gonna be wearing jeans. You're gonna be wearing work pants. Now you're just gonna throw a belt on them so they can fit as perfectly as they can to your beautiful body. I think as a belt, you don't have to go crazy, you know, and Hermes one, but you also don't want to skimp it and get a $10 one that is going to crust and crack. So that being said, I have a couple recommendations. I recommend you getting one that is going to last and getting some leather protectant. You know, you want to lube this guy up so he doesn't get too stiff and crackly. Another shoe one we have is the loafer. I don't know what Michael Jackson did to make these such a prominent thing in the fashion world. Similar to the Mary Jane flats, they're comfortable, they're practical, and they look way more elevated than sneakers or flip-flops. So pair them with socks to MJ style. That will help you when the weather temperature drops. We're saying goodbye to lug sole, loafer, and boots. Quite frankly, they're just way too chunky, way too heavy, and they're way too scary for some people to look at because some of them got pretty thick. Pair those crew socks with a pair of affordable loafers. You can waterproof protect them because you don't want these things to get damaged by environmental debris. Boss babe, mob wife, corporate girl, tie them all together and you get the corporate girl pant. Aritzia is probably the most famous place to find a pair of these because they have an insane amount of style, length, fit options. These have basically become the strongest competitor to jeans because they have not only became just as comfortable as jeans, but they have become even more sophisticated. Can be worn in any way, shape, or form. You mold them to whatever you want them to be. Just make sure you're getting a good fitting pair of jeans. Otherwise, they're not gonna do anything for your body shape. If you're just getting into the realm of menswear pants, you can definitely go thrift a pair from Goodwill. Pay a $15 to $20 tailoring fee to get them looking absolutely divine on you and making them look really, really high-end. Another one you may have forgotten about, but is in the world of necklines, is the funnel neck top. I haven't seen a V-neck in a hot minute, but the funnel neck has now come through on the cycling rotation of fashion trends. Very similar to the boat neck and awfully similar to the turtleneck. This is going to be a fabulous piece and provide you warmth. Unfortunately, for those that really loved this trend, is the off-the-shoulder tops. Definitely made your collarbones and décolleté look amazing, but very annoying when you're putting a coat on, a jacket on, and then you have to readjust every 30 to 60 seconds. Good news, like most solid basic pieces, you can find these very inexpensive. You can find them in multi-packs even, so you can get 3 to 5 colors that you will wear throughout the season and into winter. You are going to rejoice in this fashion trend, which kind of feels like a crime calling it a trend, but we are getting the natural, effortless hairstyles. Every summer, we want to slick back our hair, pull it as tight as humanly possible so there's no flyaways and no wispies in our face to ever cause us distress. But in the fall season, we are going for very natural, air-dried, loose wave styles that highlight your natural beauty. The key in the fall is to be easy breezy and yes, effortless. So this is very similar to the no makeup trend that is not really a trend anymore because it's been around so long. We're going to be saying goodbye to heat as much as possible and cutting out all the products. Now, obviously, if you have frizz, we can do an air dry cream with that. Definitely want to make sure you're using a leave-in conditioner and oil to keep the ends healthy and happy. We do not want to look like a haystack. Easiest thing, because you're not going to spend hours or minutes doing your hair no more. So essentially, your budget hack is basically free because sure you have products already in your bathroom that can help you get an effortless undone look without having to buy any other products. Fall is not fall without a good pair of boots. That's where we get the modern day cowboy boots. Cowboy boots have been in our face the last couple years, but the very Western styles, the kind that you see at the state fairs and bachelorette parties. But this is the modern day cowboy boots where we're getting rid of all the embroidery and all the designs and keeping the overall silhouette of the boot, combining it with the classic almond toe boots and black heel. So these are still very wearable. If you're wondering what is now out, it is the pointed kitten heel. These were all the rage last year in particular, but this is one of those trends that quite honestly was hard to wear in real life. So we're going back to basics. We're just adding that little cowboy flair. I've provided you with a few alternative and affordable boot options so you do not have to pay $500 for a pair of new boots. This is where old money gets to enter the chat, and we have the cable knit sweaters. Classically made popular over the course of many years is the Ralph Lauren cable knit. They definitely forecasted this one pretty well because they have jacked up their prices significantly. But if you're gonna invest in something, make it a cable knit sweater from Ralph Lauren. They have a very high quality. They're never gonna go out of style. You can pass them on to your kids. You just gotta pick what you want. You can go for the sweater vest, you can go for the cardigan, you pull over sweater, make it the one you're gonna wear the most. The best thing about these is they are going to keep you warm, especially if you go back to that previous trend and wear a button down underneath of it, shall you wish. If you are lucky, you will be able to thrift these, but if not, do not worry. I have several variations available that look just as good as the Ralph Lauren ones. If you haven't heard of these before, you have now, and they are the squishy bags. The squishy bags are now the fall version of the hobo bag, while still popular, but these are even roomier and squishable. For the longest time, we have had an emphasis on sleek, structured bags and also micro bags that lasted a little too long. Now we have these bags that basically look like giant clutch bags. They're roomy, they're comfortable, and you do not have to worry about them getting dented or bent or getting out of shape. You're just going to want this to be like your own little squishable. I get it. If you don't want to buy a new bag and you're unsure about this one, buy an inexpensive version from a popular retail so you can jump on the trend without worrying about whether this is going to be a good ROI for you or not. Summer was the summer of butter yellow, but fall is the season of navy. It's a neutral that should always be around. I think maybe people got bored of navy, but it's back in full throttle. It is the easiest thing to style. This a monochromatic moment, going to look very sleek, adding onto the coastal trends that were really popular, the Hampton looks, and of course the old money quiet luxury vibe that has still not called it quits. Now navy also is a color that looks really expensive in and of itself, so even if you buy a more affordable option, it's gonna look put together no matter the price tag. This is not necessarily a fashion trend, but it is going against the trend that keeps making appearances that really shouldn't, and that is black tights. I don't know why last year these lace leggings and printed tights made an appearance. Somehow they always do, and they really shouldn't. So not only was this trend just completely impractical and literally would not look good on anything unless you were Bella Hadid, we have the sheer black tight. We're not going full opaque. We want some transparency on here that gives a little of sexiness and chicness. You're going to get so many uses out of black tights. Do not spend a lot on these. It's not worth it, especially if you have nails. You're going to snag them. However, the best tights I've ever worn that do not break unless you literally grab a pair of scissors and cut them are from Sheertex. They're so incredibly durable. If you're one of those girlies that wear tights on an everyday basis in the fall, absolutely not be disappointed, and you will not be going through tons of pairs of tights. May not be a happy moment for you, but we have the skinny boot cut jean. We have long been loving and wearing and purchasing wide leg jeans. Wide leg jeans aren't completely off the radar, but we need variety and we need something else in our mix, and that's where we get the skinny boot cut. If skinny boot cut feels too much of a skinny jean for you, go with regular boot cut. Do not go the flare route. Really stick it in between the skinny boot cut and the regular boot cut. So incredibly flattering for your shape. They do wonders for all body shapes. I get that wide legs do that too, but it is time we have something more form-fitting and sophisticated than the really bad wide leg jeans that are literally just sweatpants in jean form. Budget hack. You can routinely sign up for your favorite jeans newsletters such as Good American, Revolve, Nordstrom, Veronica Beard, Levi's, and get routine seasonal discounts sent to your inbox so you never, ever have to pay full price. Buy multiple pairs as well, because sometimes, as we know in the stores, they don't quite have every size available. Try them on at home and then benefit in that free return and that sale price. This one is a beauty trend, Beige Blush, a continuation of the bronzer trend that was popular last spring. But because it's not summer, we don't want a shimmery bronzer. We are going the beige route. And essentially, you're removing your blush with a beige blush. It looks really rich. It looks very fresh, not calling attention to your face. Goes hand in hand with the Effortless hairstyle. Saying goodbye to these very prominent, very punchy, bold cheek colors. As we're entering the colder months, we want something a bit subdued. Use the blush as bronzer and put it all over your face for some slight dimension. Contrary to what Instagram and Pinterest may tell you, you don't have to buy the super expensive Tom Ford and Chanel blushes out there, because there are some pretty good dupes that have the same color, same finish, and still hit this beauty trend without spending buckets on it. This one is in the term of fabrics, and it is wool, which I am wearing today. I treat it as a little Easter egg for you guys. Wool, as mentioned with some of the other trends, because I like to compound these things and make it easier for you guys, is a very rich, woolly, warm fabric. No matter what you spend on wool, it looks rich. It's thick, it's cozy, will keep you warm without having to wear layers upon layers. Investing in a wool blazer, pair of pants, a coat, a sweater will last you forever long. Take it from my dad, who I will not photograph because I don't want to put him on the spot, but he has so many wool pieces in his wardrobe that he's had for 30 plus years, and they are still very, very well intact. If you're hesitant about this fabric, pick one piece. Whatever it is you tend to wear the most or want to experiment with and feel like you're going to get the most use out of. If you're not really a trouser person, skip the trousers, do the blazer or do a coat or a sweater. Doesn't really matter, because you are going to fall in love with wool. What's out the door is leather. Leather is now seen as very tacky and cheap, so we are going the complete opposite of that. If you're still on the fence and don't want to save a lot of money, go ahead and shop the men's department, because as a female, you're gonna no doubt be able to get the sizes that are continuously on sale that the normal men are not snagging up. And we're now entering the jewelry portion with pearl earrings. We have talked about this time and time again, but luxury and old money is really here to stay. I think it's gonna be here for the decade. You can wear these pieces over and over and over again. Pearl earrings, they were long forgotten about, but they are old money to a T. Back in in the day, this was the most sophisticated jewelry of choice you could wear. Still to this day, you can find pearl pieces for thousands, if not millions of dollars. I'm not encouraging you to spend that much, but the nice thing with these things is you can treat them like a gold hoop or a diamond stud. They go with everything and they're going to elevate every single outfit. I mean, if you really wanted to wear these to the gym, there's no shame because you're gonna look pretty good. Just probably don't buy the real versions because if they fall out on the treadmill, you're definitely gonna be very mad and probably mad at me for suggesting that. You can obviously buy these on Amazon or whatever, some kind of affordable jewelry sites. I can guarantee you that your mother, your aunt, your grandmother has a pair of pearl earrings they're probably not wearing. You need to walk on up to them, kindly ask them if you could borrow them, aka take them, and wear them as your own. Guarantee the kind that they have from years past is a very high quality pair of pearl earrings. And then later, if you want to get a matching necklace, do that. But first, start with those shiny iridescent earrings. Now remember, you guys do not have to buy every single fashion trend out there. A lot of us are trying to save money and do things on a budget without blowing things out of proportion. But I will say the nice thing about pretty much all these trends is that you will wear them over and over and over again. These trends are evergreen. That being said, I do hope you guys learned and found some new essentials to add to your wardrobe. You're gonna be looking super hot, super fashionable this fall season. If you liked this video, please check out the other ones on my channel. And with that, I'll see you next time. Bye.